The Department of Labor says no to sleeper berth pay. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome to Trucking Answers. I'm Mark, your humble host. And just as I predicted, the Department of Labor just came out with guidance. This is their wage and hour division that says no way to sleeper berth pay. And this is how they got involved in this. Now, this goes back to the PAM lawsuit, where PAM, a federal judge, has said you have to pay for sleeper berth time. So another company, not PAM, wrote to the Department of Labor, the federal Department of Labor, wage and hour division, and said, hey, do we have to pay our drivers to be in the sleeper berth or not? The wage and hour division said, no, you do not have to. And the example at this company was they had a driver that worked 55.84 hours on the clock, right, on duty and driving, and 49.96 hours in the sleeper berth, okay? And so they want to know, should they pay him? The Department of Labor said, all you have to pay this driver is $404.84. That's minimum wage for 55.84 hours, all right? Because drivers are still not we're exempt from overtime laws, so they don't have to pay overtime for that. That's the guidance from the Department of Labor, and here's why they said that. They related drivers back to anyone who travels for work, like they said a construction worker who may be in a motel for the night. That construction worker, even though they're paid hourly for their time at work, do not have to be paid any amount of time for time that they're in a motel, even though they're away from their home. Why? It is not compensable time. The driver, the construction worker in their example, is not engaged in work at that time. And what they said about this is that any off-duty time or sleeper berth time that's logged does not have to be paid. So this is the guidance from the wage and hour division. Now, the courts aren't bound by this, but they do follow this guidance. When these things are put out, this is what the courts look to determine should somebody be paid or should somebody not be paid, all right? So that's the real problem with it, that the Department of Labor, when they're comparing this to people in a motel. Here's the thing about this. This is what I've always said. You're not going to get paid to be in the sleeper, even though this lower court judge said this. Once this gets up here, in this PAM lawsuit, PAM is going to win this. You're not going to have to be paid in the sleeper, okay? You're just not going to have to be paid in the sleeper. The other thing about this is stop fighting for minimum wage, for God's sakes. At this rate, it's $404 is all this driver has to be paid. Is that what you want to be paid? Minimum wage? Don't look to get minimum wage for everything. Don't try to get the minimum amount. And stop doing all this off-duty time, because the more of this that's on there, the Department of Labor said that time does not have to be paid. So when you do work and then specifically log it off duty, you cannot then complain that you're not paid for it. You're not required to be paid for it. You're obviously not working. Stop logging all this stuff off duty. The thing about this lawsuit from PAM and any other companies that are being sued for this, I think there's a couple of them that are a bit farther behind PAM lawsuit. What's going to happen? You're not going to have to get paid in your sleeper. You're just not. All that 168 hours a week that you want to get paid for because you're gone from your house, it's not going to happen. It's not work time. You're going to have to, the only thing you're going to be able to get paid for, to fight to get paid for, is time that you work. And the other downside of that, the other side of it, I guess, is like the Department of Labor right here says, off-duty time doesn't have to be paid. So if a driver is going to specifically log themselves off duty, you're then not going to be able to go to the Department of Labor and say, I want to get paid for that time when they finally rule on this stuff. You're not going to be able to get paid for it. You're only going to get paid for the time you log. Stop logging things off duty that you should be logging on duty. When you're driving the truck, it's driving time. Okay, when you're sitting doing, paperwork, pre-trip, that's all logged time. All of it. Log all of that time. Stop working for free for these companies. This is the problem in the industry. Don't go looking to the government and say, I want minimum wage to be in the sleeper. No. How about get a decent wage? Don't accept these low paying companies that give you all this time that don't pay you anything. Don't work there. They can only do it because you'll take it. Drivers that accept 30 cents a mile, 33 cents a mile or whatever, that's because people will accept it. Companies that have 3 hours or 4 hours of unpaid time and then give you $10 an hour, unnamed companies like that, that's because people accept it. That's the only reason they can do it. If nobody would accept it, they would have to pay you. That's the real problem with it. Don't accept this low pay, and certainly don't go crying to the government for $7.25 an hour and think like you got something. You don't have anything. That's no kind of money. We're professionals. We should get paid that way, but we have to demand that we get paid that way. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching Trucking Answers.